Hi, this is a cooking show I'm gonna try. So, yeah. Today we're making pretzel bread. We have all the ingredients here. We have, so it's 1 cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 egg and with 1 teaspoon of water, 4 cups of flour, 1 packet of Fleischmann's active dry yeast, or just 1 packet of yeast, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and about 1 teaspoon of salt, and then 4 cups of water, and 1/4 cup of baking soda. So for the first step, you'll want to put your 1 cup of milk and 2 tablespoons of butter into a small pot, and then you will want to turn it on, and basically you'll want to warm it up and make sure the butter partially melts, and it should be done if you have something that can measure the temperature. Should be done when it reaches about 110 degrees. So yeah. I got this recipe from allrecipes.com. I will put a link in the description, and it's pretty good. Also, if you are gluten-free, all you'll need is some gluten-free flour and xanthan gum. You should need about, 3 teaspoons of xanthan flour if you are doing a gluten-free version of this. I would recommend, I already have it ready, but while this is heating up, if you have a mixer of some kind to put your brown sugar, salt, and yeast in this bowl, and put it, basically, if you have a handheld mixer, you could use that, this thing. Or if you have a KitchenAid, which is what I'm doing, use that. So you want to put that off there. And so once you have, if you're using a KitchenAid, as I am, move it here. So in the bowl that you have your brown sugar, salt, and yeast mixture, you'll want to put the milk and butter, dump that into there. And then if you do that, make sure you also have the right hook for this one. So, and to make sure that's on correctly, you want to put that in, and then you will grab your flour, and what you'll do is put a little bit in at the start, lock it, and then start. So as you're mixing, you'll want to, I would recommend, if you're using something like this, stopping it, but you'll want to slowly add more flour as it's mixing, so it can basically become dough. Then every once in a while too, I would also recommend grabbing a spatula to get all the flour off of the sides. And a little bit. So put the rest in there, and then you'll want to scrape all the flour and dough off of the sides just to make sure that it can all mix together better. And usually do 2 around each side of the bowl. Once that's done, you'll want to take that off, lock it, and then put it back in, or start stirring it again. After a while, you should be able to see that it's starting to become more dough-like. So you want to keep having it mixed. You also don't want to have it too long, or it will become a lot more dense and won't be as fluffy as pretzels usually are. So yeah. And then make sure everything's still there. Mix it a little bit more after, make sure it's basically become bread dough. And if it's still like kind of sticky, then it should be done. You want to stop it and take it off. So for the next part of the recipe, you will want to, because it has yeast in it and it'll rise, basically, what's it called? I forgot. But you'll basically want to, oil the bowl quickly. So basically, you get a little bit of oil, and then either use a napkin or a piece of paper towel to spread it throughout the whole bowl. Make sure that every side gets wet. Plus, if you use a napkin or a paper towel, it will take up, or basically suck up all the extras. So yeah. So, the next step after you've basically made your dough is you'll want to take some flour and then sprinkle it on your work surface, because you'll need to knead the dough. I'm using this pan because it should be a lot easier to clean up than either the counter or like a Silpat kind of thing. So yeah. Then want to grab your bowl, and if you want, you can use your spatula. I'm going to use it only a little bit, but you'll basically want to get your dough into a glob and then put it onto the work surface or wherever you had your flour put down. So after we've grabbed all of the dough, want to make sure that you got it all. Make sure that your hands are floured, because the dough gets pretty sticky. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to basically knead the dough. So yeah, it may feel weird, and that's totally expected. So yeah, so I want to make sure that you basically get it so it's still, that it's a little less like sticky and stringy, and does feel a little bit more like stretchy kind of, because it will need to expand because there's yeast in it. I would recommend doing it for like about a minute, maybe, at like 2 minutes at the most. So yeah. And then, cool, that should be good. Now you'll want to put it in your oiled bowl. You take that in there. So yeah. Okay, so once you've put your dough in your bowl and made sure you got as much of it in as possible, what you'll want to do is either use, I'm using press and seal, but basically like press and seal, plastic wrap, something to make sure that it can stay closed. And then you'll want to make sure you put it over, and then on, there you go, cool. So after doing that, you'll want to set it in like a warm environment. Like I did it like right on on the stove I've been working on, because it's pretty warm, and then it can rise more. So yeah, it will need to sit for about an hour, and then after that we'll be back. Okay, so one thing I would say you would want to do while your while your dough is basically rising. So I would recommend to do it late, like almost when it's almost done, then like a little bit before. But you want to basically get a good egg crack, and then combine that and the water. And then either use a whisk or a fork. I'm just gonna use a fork. And you'll want to mix these together until they're basically combined. So yeah, and we will need that later, so you'll want to like put a seal on it or something, and then put it in the, I would recommend like fridge or something. So yeah. Okay, so after your dough has risen, so like I'm just in a good about, what you'll want to do is, so I already have 1 cup, but you'll want to get a bigger, probably pot. So yeah, make sure it can at least fit, like if you put a fist in it, it wouldn't overflow. So yeah, so we're doing about 4 cups of water. And then I would recommend grabbing like some kind of measurement tool. I want to do, or not a measuring tool, like a spoon or something. And then you want to let me grab. You'll want to have something that can measure a 4th cup. So if I grab over here, you'll want to take your baking soda and whatever you're using for measurements, and then would also recommend using or basically pouring the baking soda over the water. So then if you do spill, go into the water so you can use a little bit less. So take a 4th cup, and you'll want to dump that in. And then what you'll want to do is basically get your solution into a boil. Okay, so while your mixture is boiling, I would recommend probably a spoon or something, and basically mix it up. Make sure that everything's kind of like mixed in with the water. So I recommend doing that a little bit first, and then you'll wait and then do that again. So while that's happening, you'll want to, if you still have it, basically grab your spatula so you can make sure, so you can basically get your dough into a ball. That one, and then basically it's simple enough. You just scrape it off the sides. Would also recommend, like, at this time you could do it earlier, but I don't want to heat up my house too much. Set your oven to 400 degrees. So yeah, so then it can warm up to be used later. Okay, so cool. We got that. So I stripped up my dough. I grabbed this. So I would recommend, well, stir it up again, or your water mixture up again. And then what I would recommend, like, just grabbing like a butter knife or something. You don't have to, but I'm doing basically little bites. So I wouldn't need this as much, but like, let's say you're making a loaf, you would want to cut it in half, rolled into balls, and then it would basically be 2 loaves. Put that there. And then the mixture seems to be mixed up, so a little bit higher, and then wait for that to boil. So while I'm waiting for that to boil, I'm going to take some of this dough, and what you'll want to do is basically roll the dough up into a little ball. Mine's a little sticky, but sometimes it does turn out a little stickier than others. So what you want to do is, after getting this into a ball shape, then you will, so you'll wait to put it, but you'll put it in there. So yeah. Okay, so I'm back. So our mixture is getting ready to boil. I had a little extra, I basically floured my dough a little bit so that it wouldn't stick as much, so I could like actually roll it into a ball. What you'll want to do is basically, after it's boiled for like, I would say a second, then you'll want to put your first little ball of dough in. So that is boiling. So now we will want to dump it in. And then, so after, I did usually one at a time, but after about a minute of it being in there, you'll want to flip it with either like a spatula or a big spoon or something like that. I'm going to watch my phone. So, and since I'm using this kind of, it's kind of spatula, I'm not completely sure. So after it's done, I will flip it, and then it will basically brown on the other side. I want both sides to basically be in there for 1 minute, and then you'll put them on, I did a pan with a Silpat, which I would say is recommended, but you could also probably just do like a normal pan with like tin foil or something. So yeah, now I'm going to get back when all of these are done cooking. Okay, so I'm back. So once you finished your things, basically that mixture, the egg mixture, you'll want to, I use like one of these brush things, I'm not sure what it's called, but basically you want to like dip it in there and then kind of like, you know, brush the little pretzel bread stuff. Like I would say make sure that everything gets brushed at least once or twice, because that's what gives it its, like all the pretzels, a nice gloss. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I might make it a time lapse actually. So yeah. Okay, so once you've basically glazed your stuff, or the stuff, you'll want to put them into the oven, which you've hopefully been putting on 400, and it should be there. And you'll set a timer for 15 minutes. After those 15 minutes are up, you'll want to switch it to 350 degrees and then put that in for about 10 minutes just to make sure that, you know, basically it doesn't burn, but it gets baked. So yeah. Cool. So I hope you like the recipe. I do have to stress, if you are going to do it, don't use my video as instructions. Use the link in the description. So yeah, found on all recipes, it's pretty good. So yeah, try it out sometime. Cool.